Darrell
Pierce, yeah.
with the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. I believe your title is biologist, senior biologist?
Area Fisheries Manager.
Area
so if
Fisheries
y'all remember Dave Arnold, he retired. I took Dave's spot. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you all.
Thanks for being here.
So the board was just interested in knowing a little bit about, what your responsibilities are with the Fish and Boat Commission, like in particular to the lake, and what your job responsibilities are.
Okay, great. So the Fish and Boat Commission, we manage the state's fisheries within Area 5, which is the northeast corner of the state. That's the upper Delaware drainage. So I manage the waters from the Lehigh Basin, of which the lake here is part of the Lehigh Basin as part of the upper Delaware. As the area manager, I'm responsible for the Area 5 biologists. There's Anthony Wynn, who's a fisheries biologist under me, and then I have a seasonal position as well. Right now we're doing lake work, of which we will actually be on Mauch come this Thursday, weather pending, looking for the bass. Earlier this year we were on the lake at the end of March, and then at the end of April assessing the panfish populations as well, the yellow perch, bluegills, and whatnot. So my intentions is, at the end of that, this lake is in the big bass program. So my intention for all this sampling was to evaluate how the bass are doing, as well as the panfish. Okay, there you
That was
go.
the other day. That was just 2 days ago. I got it.
There you go.
I kissed them and throw them back.
That's that's what we like to see.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that the big bass rags are doing what we intend them to do to produce large-sized bass, as well as make sure the panfish populations in the forage are doing well. In that case, doing well as well. Sorry. Yesterday I decided to put together a PowerPoint presentation. I'll send that to Dave. He can disseminate that out to your group. What I'd like to do is I'll invite myself back to y'all come sometime early winter, and then I can present to you what we found this year relative to all the pastures that we have. So in terms of what the PowerPoint will show you, the yellow perch, it's a robust population. There's great sizes of yellow perch out there. They are the dominant panfish in the lake. I mean, bluegills, pumpkin seeds, black crappies, they're there, and they're quality size. Yeah. But by and far, it's about yellow perch. We have not yet done the bass. So the electrofishing that we'll do come this Thursday and the following week, we'll target the shorelines. We'll go out, pull up the bass, measure them, weigh them, toss them back. And then that will give me a good handle on how abundant they are, and then what size distribution we have within the lake. In past surveys, roughly we were on the lake every 3 to 5 years. We're talking about 5% of the bass population would achieve the 15-inch big bass limit. I personally would like to see that a little bit higher if we can. So depending on what we find this year, and when I come back to you and show you these results, I may start suggesting we may want to think about a different regulation so that we can improve the trophy sizes of the bass, so that not only are they a little bit larger that we can get the largemouth to, but maybe make them a little more abundant than what they are right now. There's ways to go about doing that, and we can discuss that once I have data in front of you and show you what we have. But in all, I'm very pleased with the panfish population. I'm very excited for the yellow perch population. Withhold what the bass are doing until I get to see them later this week. But from past experiences, the lake has been very stable in producing quality-sized panfish as well as big bass. Just not to the level I would have liked to see it. But I think you have a great lake out there. I think it's doing really well.
Thank you, Darrell, for coming. Kind of initiated you coming. I'm Rick Forgay. I've been on the board since '88, but I've been fishing the lake since it's there, and even ice fishing. I used to pull walleyes out as big as our arm So walleyes is another species that would be great to bring back to the lake.
We can talk about that. There's an issue. I'm sorry, I should have brought that up. We used to stock walleye in the lake back in the
Fingerlings.
70s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s, even up into the 2000s. And we moved initially in the 70s. It was fry stockings. I mean, little tiny things just out of the egg.
Bait.
Exactly. Into a fingerling size, which is a little bit bigger. The decision for that was the larger you are, the better you're going to survive.
Right.
I mean, the fry, obviously. Fingerlings, they're bait too, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
It's just forage.
Yeah.
What happened was in the surveys that we had up to 2011, we were stocking walleye up to 2011, and the results we were getting back from our catches, both from the trap nets and from the electrofishing, were below objectives within the walleye plan that's online. And so we terminated walleye stocking in this lake.
Yeah, but pickerel are abundant out there.
Yes.
Very abundant.
Pickerel are very abundant.
Yeah. And we used to have muskies down the far end, 50 inches plus.
Yeah.
Goldie Valley used to get them back in the day. So I've not seen, I'm out in the lake more days than not every week and forever. And, so I see what's going on and I know what I'm catching. But, I haven't heard of a muskie, and I certainly haven't caught a walleye since you're talking about it. I knew the fingerlings were going in. And back in the day, when Dennis, did you know Dennis DeMera when he was Parks Director? No.
I did not.
But we had a guy, and Tom would remember this, he actually went out of his way, and he created fish structures for the bass. He made them. They had cinder blocks on the bottom, and they were pyramid type things. Before that, we were putting a ton of trees down with tires and things like that. So there's structure. I'm curious about how the structure is as well. But, been involved with this, had people come in again, I remember periodically before you, but I'm available and I'm out there. Would you invite, like me as a board member, something to take part with you to at least see what you're doing with the
I'll
stuff?
put you on the boat.
That would be great. I would love to do that. Because I like to educate people here too, and even the board of what's going on out there.
That'd be fun.
I care.
Are you free this Thursday?
I can be. Yeah.
Here's my phone number.
Okay.
570.
Where are you based out of? Where's home?
Skill.
Okay, great. I went to East Strasburg.
Okay. 479-1085. That's my cell, and that's the best way to get on.
Okay.
D.A. Pierce, David Apple Pierce, is at pa.gov is my email.
Okay.
So if I got to do a last minute cancellation.
Okay, I'll probably that's a text number for you too, right? This
Yes,
is a text. Okay.
That's correct.
And I was up in Massachusetts for a while, so you'll see me coming in with a 413 number.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Okay.
I'll put you on the boat, pending weather.
Yeah.
We'll be able to see. In terms of habitat, the whole far side of that lake is perfect bass habitat.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the upper side of the lake, that's nursery ground heaven right there for bass and panfish.
Exactly.
So I mean, you're in a perfect scenario for a bass panfish fishery. In terms of walleye or even muskies, they are out of basin fish, and I think in general for Area 5, the Upper Delaware drainage, walleye and muskie just do not do well because of the high tannic waters of the glacial bogs, and they just do not like that whatsoever. Particularly muskellunge, even though they can handle oligotrophic or low productivity water. So I mean, they're in Canada big time, right? But it's the tannic water here, and for example, I mean, tannery on the Lehigh, where the whole thing was based on the oaks and the tannins for curing hide. It's just not going to happen in this lake. And that's the walleye that we found with our trap netting this year. They're still there, but they're in low numbers. But they were decent size. But I think there's a remnant population out of those stockings, and it It'll always be there, but it's not worth fishing boats a while to allocate walleye stocking to a lake where they're going to be tough to arrive at. Whereas we can put them in a different water and really get a solid fishery out of it.
So that's allocating resources for the best sustainable
Yeah.
growth. And the other one is channel cats. Although I'm not fishing for them, I caught huge ones. So I would imagine we're doing all right with channel cats still, or not?
I haven't caught any.
Okay,
No.
they were down in the breast area, down deep.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll turn a few when we go electrofishing, and hopefully we'll see that. We will electrofish across the dam breast and up, and we'll do most of the far side as well as the upper. So we'll cover, I'm hoping to cover a good chunk of the shoreline of this lake.
Great.
If channels are there, we'll find them. We used to stock them in the 70s. For whatever reason, in the 80s, they were discontinued. So if there's channels still in the lake, they're probably getting there from anglers, bringing them in and stocking them, or it's a remnant population that's still existing in the lake, but there's such low numbers. I should have caught them with the trap nets if they were there in decent numbers. Now I caught a lot of bullhead, a lot of brown and yellow bullhead of decent size, quality size, but I didn't find any channels.
Right.
So I won't ever argue against that they're not there. I just think they're in exceptionally low numbers if they are.
What's our time frame on Thursday? What are you planning on?
Sunset's roughly 8:30, so we'll meet at the launch at 7:30.
That's perfect. Yeah.
How about trout barrel? A lot of people question why stocking trout is discontinued.
It's too big of a lake. The allocation to be able to get enough stock trout to the angler in this lake would deplete the production capability that we have to be able to satisfy all the other waters across the state.
One time we were just out fishing, just normally, and the truck came and it dumped all the trout down at me, and we just went as a circle right around. I think we caught them all before they had a chance. It was kind of ridiculous. It was just rodeo, and that was the last time I remember ever seeing or hearing trout being put in.
Now we do heavily stock the creek right below the dam, and that's
Right,
that's a
exactly.
high-quality
Yeah,
fishery.
plus the Sportsman Club does as well.
They do as well.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. Now we won't be opposed if for instance the county wants to stock trout on their own volition into the lake. That's great. We just don't have the resources to be able to suitably stock this lake of this size and still maintain all the other stock.
So Darryl, what you're saying, Dave's bringing up, and we get that question. So if we would partner with any of the Mauch or Jim Thorpe sportsmen and say put some in here, you wouldn't have a problem with that?
Off the top of my head, no. But we'll have to go through the cooperative nursery and then make sure the T's and I's get crossed
Right.
and dotted.
Yeah,
And so
it's a
forth.
process then.
But I don't, from a fish management perspective, I don't see any issue with that whatsoever. So,
You guys do Lake Otto also, correct?
sorry,
Lake Otto.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to go look.
I will tell you, in fishing up there, crappies, extra large perch, beautiful perch. What else do we got? There's nice trout in there, and what else did we catch up there? We had a ball up there. Well, we couldn't go to Canada, so we went up there and we were fishing up there. We had a heck of a good time.
Excellent. Is that one's by Hazelton, right?
No, that
No,
one is
Nesquahoning.
Nesquahoning. It's out Route 54.
Okay.
Between
Right.
Nesquahoning and Hometown.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And it's... I was
Crosses the two
impressed.
counties.
Yeah.
Crosses the two counties.
Yeah.
It's a private
private
lake.
lake.
Yeah,
That's
and
why
then
it's
even
not
better
green
is
enough.
But
It's
I was
Greenwood.
impressed. I was impressed.
Excellent. Well, and that's what I like about Area 5 is we can produce great panfish. Quality, quantity, blessed by the tannic waters. Cursed or blessed, depends on how you want to look at it.
Now, I was on the board when we made it a big bass lake or qualified for that, but you made a little bit of a comment about that, perhaps changing that to improve the abundance. What's on your mind, or at least a thought that you might have?
So big bass is based on a 15-inch minimum, right? And if we're only having 5% of our catch being above that limit, then are we truly giving anglers a big bass experience? I saw
Good
your
point.
picture.
Yeah.
You're having a great big bass, but you're an exceptional angler. So the question is, do your campers, when they come in, does a family, when
Most
they
people
come
don't
in,
know how to fish them here. That's true.
Yeah.
And we get a couple clubs coming in and they bang them a little bit. They're better fishermen, so they pull a few out, take
Right.
a picture, send them back.
Right.
Hopefully.
Right. So the goal, when we put a name to a rig,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and we say this lake is in this water, I want the average angler to be able to come to a water and experience a big bass experience. When we have 5% of the population not only making it
Exactly,
that, I'm
right.
not sure I'm giving that experience to an average angler.
Yeah, you don't want to overpromise and
Yeah.
deliver. So what would be an adjustment to that?
It depends, and here's where I'll have to rely on your experience. I don't know what harvest is right now.
Mhm.
This is a high use lake.
Yeah.
It's certainly easily to understand that. But what I don't know is how much harvest is actually occurring above that 15% or 15-inch minimum size.
Right.
So if there's a lot of harvest occurring, it may be, for instance, a slot limit would be able to help that out. So take one fish, say from the 12 to 15 inches, and only one fish 15 inches or greater.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you manage the limits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and slots go by limit, but
Right.
it presumes that harvest is happening, but not exceptionally so. So if we allow folk to take a smaller fish and satisfy their fishing experience, hey, I want to eat what I caught, they can do that, but we're not focusing solely on the trophy-sized fish that we want to give to those angler experiences. Right now, we're saying if you want to harvest, it's only on the trophy size. That's what the big bass does, right? So is the 5% that we're seeing above the 15-inch minimum, is that because it's harvest, or is that because that's all the lake can produce? Maybe the lake is completely maxed out. I don't believe so, given the quality habitat out there. But I don't know what harvest is on the lake. I probably won't ever know what the harvest is.
Brought
Yeah.
that up a couple months ago about being overfished.
Well, yes, but we're talking about harvest is there's catch and release,
Yeah.
which I do all the time, but we don't know who's keeping them. That's the
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
And I watch everything visually, and we don't have a whole lot. We did have one time a lot of clubs coming in and having their tournaments here. So if anything, they shock the fish because the boats are getting bigger. The one complaint I'm getting all the time, and I just tell them, is they're saying that at B the ramp is too shallow. I said, well, we didn't build this lake for your size boat.
Yeah.
I humbled them a little bit with that, but so we're getting pontoon boats out there now and all kinds of stuff. It's concerning. This week I was like, oh boy, we have to start watching this and seeing that's more in the enforcement end. But
Well, and the tech is getting a lot better. I mean, the side scan sonars.
exactly,
everything.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
fishing now. is
Even on
nothing like it
kayaks,
was.
these guys are loaded
Yeah.
with unbelievable
They
kayaks.
got the electronic gear there. You can watch your hook go in front of the fish. It's getting much more effective.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll find out what we get
Yeah.
in the next week or so, and hopefully this early winter or so, when I come back to y'all, I'll have better understandings of what the conditions are right now, and then we can start talking at your desire if we want change or something else.
That's fantastic.
One last thing, Darryl, can you just touch on the water quality of the lake?
I haven't monitored the water quality. That would be more of a DEP I've been seeing from the little minutia water quality that I do, which is just temperature and conductivity, this is a low productivity water, meaning it's low conductivity, it has low zooplankton in it. So the fish will be a little bit slower growing in it. That's not an issue because the sizes that I'm seeing are still quality and trophy sizes of fish. It's just going to take them a little longer to get there. The clarity of the water is exceptional. I mean, so to be honest with you, I'll just make a blanket statement. I think you don't have much of a water quality issue at this point, unless you start seeing harmful algal blooms. That's where the surface of the water starts looking green. That's the cyanobacteria that takes advantage of a strong influx of phosphorus or nitrogen. If you see that, call me. I will have somebody come out and sample it.
The day for the beach area, we used to sample that water frequently. Is that still?
Oh yeah, you're required to get it sampled every week.
Yeah.
Daryl, we did have about 3 months ago, there was a public comment period because DEP is upgrading Mauch Creek from its beginning down to the river based upon its trout. Its habitat for trout. So I suspect we've been upgraded because the public comment period has ended. Now there is potential encroachment on this side of Lentz Trail of housing being built. Now that'll be not connected to borough sewer. It'll be on-site septic system. The borough of Jim Thorpe is currently, I think it was last month, decided they were actually going to relook at loosening their restrictions that could potentially, if come to fruition, would facilitate construction of housing right here within about a quarter of a mile of the actual lake septic system.
Septic system, so they'll have to be perked, right?
Of course, yeah.
And all that, but DEP, if they upgrade the entire basin, essentially, is what I'm hearing, then those when that goes through, that should offer the level of protection to keep it higher.
Right.
Higher requirements for whenever that housing development
Right.
goes.
The fact is, DEP, their proximity requirement is really close. The borough actually has more restrictive, meaning further back. However, the concern is they're going to loosen that and allow the houses to actually be closer than their current restrictions have.
That's all on DEP.
Yeah, it is. It is. Again, though, everything has a potential impact on what you're saying today. 10 years from now, we'll see.
Right. And unfortunately, in biology, it takes 10 years, years before you really start seeing the effects of what you did back in the day.
Yeah.
So.
I'd like to say something. I apologize for being late, but I have a concern about the salt load. Is from the community,
Coming from the community or the roads.
from
or,
Summit Hill, from Lynch Trail, from Bugsy's Mountain. I mean, they lay the salt down. It seems way more than. I mean, if they could just be made aware to use it sparingly because of the lake.
that would be an issue through DEP.
Right, I figured that, but
We don't address that, but salt overall has been shown to be increasing in the basin itself. Philly Water has a real concern with salt for their drinking water intakes in the Delaware River.
well, that's coming up from.
They have a clear graph. It's just been increasing.
Right.
But as to regulating it or how salt is applied, that's all through DEP. The conductivity, which relies on salt in this water, this lake, is consistently been exceptionally low. Conductivity, I think, is roughly around 90. A high productivity lake or a higher salt lake, content lake with fluorides, you're talking more in 150, 200, even the that's just natural in those regards, as well as inputs from people. But this lake is really low, so it means I have a tough time electrofishing because there's nowhere for the electricity to be carried through the water. Right? There's less chloride item. And that's a good thing, to be honest with you. But I think this lake, in terms of being an influence of salt, I don't know what that is through a data process, but looking at the fish populations with the robustness that I'm seeing in the panfish and hopefully through the bass, they seem to be doing okay so far.
Any other questions for Darryl?
Thank you, Darryl. Great,
Thank you.
great to have you come in. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I'll send Dave the quickie PowerPoint. If y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll come back or I'll answer you directly at the time. However it is, just give me a little bit of time. Summer is my big time, so I'm out more than I am in. But I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. All right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Do you need me anymore? Or am
I mean, you're welcome to stay, but if you have to leave, that's fine too.
I'll move on. I'm on overtime right now, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, folks.
All right, thank you. I hope a fish didn't bite you there.
I screamed like a little girl. I put my hand right on the generator exhaust.
It was that electrofishing, you know?
Well, it was electric.
Oh, yeah.
It was the generator. We'll see y'all.
Take care, Darryl.
See it. All right, now we go to approval of minutes.